There's nothing holding me back. There's a bird in my head. Alexa, pause. There's a bird in my head. Now you can understand why I've kind of given up on doing my hair. She gets so sassy if I try to touch my own head. She thinks it's hers. It belongs to her. We're here today to talk about meatballs. Okay, so meatballs are like a pretty basic thing, right? Like, I know a lot of people who kind of think of them as like what to make when you can't think of anything better. But I will say that meatballs had a bit of a resurgence. What was it? Like probably around 20 years ago, where they became like something really, really special. And that's the kind of meatballs that we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna make really, really special meatballs. You may already know this about me. My father was half Italian. His father was first generation. So I have the DNA for this. I think I need to pause because I can feel this weight on the back of my head. It's like swinging back and forth and it's pulling my hair back and down. It's probably not a good look. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna do a quick hair fix and we will get right back into the meatball discussion. One sec. All right, I don't know if that looks any better, but it feels better. And it's better to feel good than to look good, darling. Actually, it's the other way around, but all my fellow Gen Xers may remember that lame joke. So we're talking about meatballs. So there was like this big resurgence of meatballs and suddenly they became like a trendy thing. I was totally there for it because newsflash, meatballs can be amazing. One more second, one more quick second. Sorry for all the interruptions. Let's fix, no. Let's do that because I think it's only gonna get brighter over the next several minutes. Okay, yeah, meatballs are like can be so seriously amazing. Like you can eat them with spaghetti, obviously, or you can kind of serve them as like an appetizer. You can stuff them with different things, different kinds of sauces. It's all so yummy. I was talking about my heritage. So yeah, my dad was half Italian. However, my grandfather was all about assimilating into American culture. So he really didn't pass that along to my dad or me. I mean, maybe he tried and my dad just wasn't open to it. I'm not sure. I was lucky enough to have a job as a pastry chef at a catering company years ago that was run by an Italian family, and they really kind of specialized in just making really good Italian food for all of their events. We did weddings, funerals, Christmas parties, proms and dances, New Year's Eve parties, and everything had the Italian theme running throughout. There was always escarole soup, wedding soup. There was always a pasta course. There was always some sorbetto, and like all the Italian desserts that I've posted on Baking a Moment, like the pizzelles and the biscotti and, you know, all that yummy stuff, olive oil cake, things like that. Uh-oh. Is this gonna be a problem? Let's switch this to the other side just in case, because you know she's gonna go after this button. She's a button lover. I learned a ton working there, and it kind of fulfilled that sort of longing that I had to understand Italian food and to hopefully someday be an Italian nonna. I feel like I can really speak with authority about Italian food, and meatballs are no exception. Let's talk about meatballs. You can make meatballs with really any kind of ground meat. You could do it with turkey or ground chicken or, you know, something like that, or just plain ground beef. But if we're talking about like really exceptional meatballs here, the best thing you can buy is meatloaf mix. Meatloaf mix is a combination of ground beef, ground pork, and ground veal. So the flavor is really well rounded. It's got a little bit of all the best things of each of those kinds of meats. It's also got a relatively high fat content, which, you know, fat carries flavor. Those fat molecules, I'm about to geek out. those fat molecules are able to latch on to like different flavors in your foods and carry them to your taste buds. They also will kind of coat the inside of your mouth and allow all those yummy flavors to linger there for longer. So it just creates like a next level eating experience. And you know that's what I'm all about. So don't be afraid of the higher fat content. I'm talking about 80-20. So that's 80% meat, 20% fat. Now, I'm not the food police. You don't need to ask me permission to use a lower. She feels strongly about this. You don't need to ask permission to use a lower fat content. You can use a leaner blend of ground meat if you want. Go right ahead, be my guest, it's your funeral. It's gonna taste better if it's got more fat in it. So look for that meatloaf mix. Definitely put it in your cart. Put it in your cart. Did you ever watch Great News? That's like one of my favorite lines from Great News. Definitely look for that higher fat content ground meat blend. That's number one. We are also going to be adding ricotta to these meatballs. Ricotta cheese, technically it's not a cheese. It is a dairy product though, and it really adds a lot. It really helps these meatballs to be so super tender and melt in your mouth. We're also going to want to use an egg. This is just going to bind everything together so your meatballs don't fall apart. Breadcrumbs. You do want to add breadcrumbs to your meatballs. They will help the meatballs to be super, super tender. I know it sounds like kind of chintzy to add breadcrumbs and sort of fill out your meatballs with breadcrumbs, but that is not the reason why we do it. If you don't put any breadcrumbs in your meatballs, they are going to be so dense and heavy. The breadcrumbs really lighten up the mixture. Onion adds a really nice sweet flavor to these meatballs. Garlic, I don't know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Is it really Italian food if it doesn't have garlic in it? I did have a reader come after me for putting garlic in my authentic Italian bolognese recipe. He said, he was Italian, we never put garlic in bolognese. And I was like, are you kidding me? Why not? It's so good. Can you get down? Please, can you get down? Please, can you get down? Parsley. Parsley is just gonna bring like a little pop of freshness in the midst of all that like meaty goodness. You wanna have like a little bit of freshness. You can also use Italian seasoning. You can use fresh basil if you like. Really, any kind of herb will work, but just something to bring the green and to bring the fresh. And salt and pepper. So let your meat kind of come up to room temperature a little bit. It's gonna be a lot easier to work with if it's not ice cold from the fridge. Pop it in the bowl, add the ricotta, the sauteed onion, the breadcrumbs, the egg, the parsley, the salt, and the pepper. Mix it all up. You can use a silicone spatula if you don't want to get your hands dirty, or if you're not too squeamish about stuff like that, then you can just use your clean hands, mix it all up, get it all really nicely incorporated. Then it's time to form your meatballs. I love to use a trigger scoop for this. It makes it so easy to portion every meatball out to exactly the same size, and that's what you want. If your meatballs are different sizes, they're gonna need different amounts of time to cook. If they're all the same size, then it's consistent. Everything will cook in the same amount of time. So scoop your balls, just throw them like onto a tray or whatever, and then here's my pro tip. To roll them into like really beautiful, perfect, smooth spheres, wet your hands first. Just a little bit of cool water, lukewarm water. Keep those hands nice and wet, and your meatballs will not stick to your hands and come apart as you're trying to roll them. There are no less than three different ways that you can cook your meatballs. The first way is maybe my favorite. Just throw them into a baking dish and bake them in the oven. They get a nice brown crust on the outside, They stay soft and tender in the middle, and it's really, you feel like you have a good amount of control when you do it this way. There's no guesswork about like, oh, is this meatball done? Should I turn this meatball? Should I flip this meatball? Should I take this meatball out of the pan? Is it even done? I don't know. I don't know how long it's been in there because there's like 10 other meatballs in there with it and they all kind of went in like at different times. You get the idea. When they're all in a baking dish in the oven, you can slide them in, set a timer, go in and check them with your thermometer to make sure that they're done all the way to the middle. You only need to check one. Just check the one in the middle. You're looking for a temperature of like, ow, 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 Bert. You need some attention. Do you need some attention? You craving attention, aren't you? Say hi to all the people out there. Say, hey everybody, my name is Bert, and I like to fluff up my feathers, and we do a little dance together. Yes, we get excited when we have a dance party. It's your daily dose of Bert. So yeah, bake them in the oven, slide that tray on in there, let them bake, and then check them with your thermometer. You're looking for a temperature of like around 165 degrees for well done meatballs. You can also saute them in a pan in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Roll them around so they get browned evenly on all sides. We like our meatballs brown. Yes, we do. And the third way is to cook them almost like dumpling style. Let them simmer in your sauce. The only downside of letting them simmer in the sauce is that they won't get quite as crusty and brown on the outside, but they will be extremely tender. They will just fall apart and melt in your mouth. But again, my number one choice is to bake them in the oven. Bert, I just can't, I don't think I can do this today. I think maybe Bert needs a distraction of some kind. What can we give to Bert? Oh, kids. Oh, kids. Look, Bert, look at what Mama has for you. Look at what Mama's got for you. Oh, what's this? What's this? You gotta come down for it. She's a happy girl. I will be baking my meatballs for you here, and you'll be able to see how nicely browned they get all the way around. And the other nice thing about doing it this way is you can freeze them, let them cool down first. Let them cool all the way down first. Put them on a clean parchment lined tray, slide them into the freezer. Once they're frozen, you need enough, oh, there it goes. You knew it was gonna. You knew that was gonna happen. Once they're frozen solid, you can remove them from the tray and put them into a zip top freezer bag and stash them in your freezer so you can have homemade meatballs whenever the craving strikes. I also like doing it this way because it allows me to sauce them in any number of different ways. There goes another one. Don't worry, we're gonna get out the vacuum as soon as we're done here. Obviously, my favorite way to sauce them is with my homemade tomato sauce recipe, but sometimes I also like to do like a creamy brown sauce, like a Swedish meatball almost. And I'll add a little cardamom to that to make it a little bit more authentic. And sometimes we might like glaze them and do like a sweet and sour meatball, or we might do like a really yummy rice bowl, like a banh mi meatball bowl, and season it all up with fresh mint, fresh basil, soy sauce, sesame oil, some spice, some lime zest and lime juice. Did I say soy sauce? Definitely soy sauce. That's really good. The possibilities are really wide open. There's so many different ways you can enjoy meatballs. Oh, and yeah, you might even want to stuff them with something. Like, how about stuffing the inside of your meatball with like a cube of mozzarella so that when you cut it open, it oozes out like a lava cake. Have you ever had that in a restaurant? It's really good. Lots of different things you can do with this meatball recipe, and I tried to keep it pretty basic so that it could be adapted to all these different sauce ideas. I think you're really gonna love it. And I'm linking to the full recipe in the description here, so if you're looking for that, that's where you'll find it. Alexa, unpause. start confessing, yeah. There's nothing holding me back. Enjoy. We would be alright if you were by my side.